The psalmist said, "This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." And we so hope that you are having a blessed day today in the Lord. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Wrangling Wednesday. I am Ron Plymel, your Wrangling host for each Wednesday's edition of the Glendale Devotional Podcast. And each week I have the distinct privilege of joining with my pastor, Brother John Hames, pastor of Glendale Baptist Church in Glenn, Mississippi, and I am allowed to share with you a mini presentation of how we can use horses, our natural horsemanship method or distinctive horse behavior, to relay spiritual and scriptural truth. We always cherish the opportunity to talk with individuals about how we might be used by your church, your group, or your agency. Some information will be given at the end of this podcast as to how you can get in touch with us, and we would certainly welcome a visit with you. Well, our devotional thought for today comes to us from Paul's letter to the Corinthians. So in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, beginning in verse 1 and following, Paul writes, "When I first came to you, dear brothers and sisters, I didn't use lofty words and impressive wisdom to tell you God's secret plan. For I decided that while I was with you, I would forget everything except Jesus Christ, the one who was crucified. I came to you in weakness, timid, and trembling, and my message and my preaching were very plain. Rather than using clever and persuasive speeches, I relied only on the power of the Holy Spirit, and I did this so you would trust not in human wisdom, but in the power of God." No doubt the Apostle Paul had a clear focus. It was nothing more and nothing less than Jesus Christ. Dallas Holmes, a popular contemporary Christian artist of years gone by, sang a song which stated, "In the front of my mind, in the back of my mind, to the left and to the right, there's an image of a man on the cross." That would be very similar to the focus of the Apostle Paul, a focus that zeroed in on the person of Jesus Christ. Focus is so important in life. Certainly is in the world of horse training within the natural horsemanship aspect of things. For instance, when you begin your groundwork, when you are moving your horse in a forward direction, you need to focus on the point and the direction in which you are sending your horse. When you begin to work with and isolate the body parts, different parts of the horse, when you desire to move that particular part, your focus needs to be centered on that body part. It is as if the horse can feel the pressure of your focus. So if you want to move the front end, you put pressure on the front end and look toward the tip of the nose. You're wanting to push that front end away from you. If you are wanting to isolate and move the back end, you look toward the tail end of the horse. Your focus is what directs the horse. And even when you are riding the horse, you guide the horse in regard to where your focus is. You always want to look up and keep a destination out in front of you as a point of destination. And when you reach it, you pick another. So focus is significant. Even when riding in a circled pattern, without touching the reins, you can guide the horse to broaden their circle or shrink their circle by where you are focusing your sight. You look to the inside of the circle, the horse should shrink the size of the circle. You look to the outside of the circle and the horse should enlarge their circle. So focus is key. I believe the Apostle Paul was very much aware of that. Not so much about the horse movement, but about the significance of focus. That's one reason he reminded the Corinthians in verse 2 of our text for today, that he decided that while I was with you, I would forget everything except Jesus Christ, the one who was crucified. Paul wanted to make sure that his point of destination was clear. As a matter of fact, that is one of the major problems he was addressing there in Corinth. Back in chapter 1, beginning around verse 11, Paul writes, "For some members of Christ's household have told me about your quarrels, my dear brothers and sisters. Some of you are saying that I'm a follower of Paul. Others are saying I follow Apollos, or I follow Peter, or I follow only Christ." And then back in verse 10, he said, "Live in harmony with each other. Let there be no divisions in the church, Rather be a one mind, united in thought and purpose. And the focal point of that thought, of that purpose, was to be none other than the person of Jesus Christ. The Apostle Paul, though, not only knew of the significance of the church's focus being on Jesus, he knew the reward of a personal focus upon Jesus too. In 2 Corinthians in chapter 12, beginning in verse 7, Paul shares this testimony. To keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan to torment me and to keep me from becoming proud. 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. And each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I'm glad to boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me. He would also testify later over in Philippians chapter 4, in verses 11 and following. Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it's with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. And then he would say in verse 13, for I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. How was the Apostle Paul able to cope with and to endure all that he faced in his life? Well, first of all, he made a commitment to Jesus. In Acts chapter 9, it tells us in verse 11 that Saul, later to become known as Paul, prayed to the Lord. And then down in verse 20, it tells us that he began preaching about Jesus. Not only did Paul make a commitment to Jesus, but then he made his focus all about Jesus. Where he went, what he did, what he said, to whom he said it, etc. It was all about Jesus. Oh, listen, dear friend, as we begin to work toward closing out our time together for today, may our focus, may our focal point be all about Jesus. Let us carry the testimony of the hymn writer who wrote, Jesus is all the world to me, my life, my joy, my all. He is my strength from day to day. Without him I would fall. When I am sad, to him I go. No other one can cheer me so. When I am sad, he makes me glad. He's my friend. Jesus is all the world to me. My friend is trial sore. I go to him for blessings, and he gives them o'er and o'er. He sends the sunshine and the rain. He sends the harvest, gold and grain. Sunshine and rain, harvest of grain. He's my friend. As we approach this day that the Lord has given us, may we do so with our eyes set on Jesus. He's my friend, and I hope he is yours too. So until next time, may you experience God's blessings, and may he truly bless the trails you travel.
Each Wednesday, the Glendale Devotional Podcast is pleased to feature audio devotions from Greener Grass Ministry and Horsemanship. The speaker on today's broadcast was Brother Ron Plymel. To learn more about Greener Grass Ministry and Horsemanship, or to schedule them to come to your church, club, or function, please call Brother Ron Plymel at 662-415-1514, or you can email him at greenergrassministry@gmail.com. You're always welcome to attend Cowboy Church, which is held on Sunday mornings at 8:30 at High on the Hog Barbecue, Highway 72 in Glenn, Mississippi. Or you can watch their services on Facebook anytime. Simply like the page Greener Grass Ministries and Horsemanship to receive updates about scheduling, services, and ministry opportunities.